another experiment that we've done is to make a tadpole where the eye is located on its tail. Okay, so the only eye in the animal is located on its tail. And it turns out that those animals can see quite well. We can train them for visual stimuli, and you can see that they can absolutely see. And so this is remarkable because in one generation, not requiring eons of selection and mutation and readjusting the sensory motor system to adapt to be able to do behavioral programs with an eye on your back, these animals can see right out of the box. The eye does not connect to the brain, it connects to the spinal cord, or sometimes nowhere at all. And this means a radically different kind of sensory motor path for the information, and yet no problem, they figure out how to use it. That kind of plasticity is what makes evolution happen.
But aren't our cells just doing what they're biologically programmed to do? Where's the intelligence in that?
Well, the intelligence is in the problem-solving capacity. You see, for any object, including a human mind, if you want, you can tell a story of physics. You can say, look, here's this person solving these amazing problems and being a creative genius, but I've looked inside their brain and all I see is electrons and protons. You can always do that, and it's never going to be magic underneath. It's always going to be physics. But that framing misses the most interesting things that creative mind might be doing. And the same is true for biology. You can tell a story of chemicals doing what chemicals do, and chemistry doesn't make mistakes, and chemistry just does whatever it does. Telling that story, focusing on the kind of lowest level of chemistry, has certain implications. It means that when you design drugs for various medical conditions, you are going to treat the rest of the body as a simple mechanical machine. You're going to try to micromanage the states that you're interested in controlling, meaning the various metrics for health and disease. And if you want to make changes, your only hope is to change the hardware, which means you're going to do genomic editing. Those are the implications of having a view that focuses down on the chemistry. And those kinds of approaches, I mean, they certainly have their place. There are certainly scenarios where those are appropriate, but they leave a lot on the table in terms of what's possible for the future of regenerative medicine. What's actually missing from that whole perspective is the ability to take advantage of the intelligence and the problem-solving capacity and the memory resident in the tissues and organs of the body, and have a completely different kind of medicine that can overcome some of the limitations of today's use of pharmacological reagents and the limitations on regeneration.
So how would you like to see a shift in our collective understanding of intelligence to take science forward?
There are two major pieces to this that I'm interested in, and the work that we do is focused on this. One has to do with biomedicine, and that is, again, the idea that a lot of the limitations currently in biomedicine and bioengineering are driven by the fact that we still largely focus on the hardware. You know, in computer science and information technology in the 1940s and 50s, the way you programmed the computer was by interacting with the hardware. You had to rewire it. And nowadays, if I tell you that on your laptop to go from Photoshop to Microsoft Word, you have to get out your soldering iron and start rewiring, you're going to laugh. This is still a lesson that modern molecular medicine has not caught on to. All the exciting approaches are about DNA editing and pathway rewiring and protein engineering and so on. And the future requires us to add to all of those techniques the kinds of tools that come from neuroscience, from cybernetics, from control theory, from behavioral science that will allow us to take advantage of an understanding of the intelligence of life, and why do certain drugs stop working, and what does that have to do with habituation, and the idea that cells and tissues are actively opposing certain kinds of pharmacological interventions, just why you get differential efficacy and side effects and so on. It's because we are still insisting on micromanaging a system with which we can actually collaborate by communication. And we've had many projects in our lab of making new organs in bodies and inducing regenerative repair, reprogramming tumors, all of that by learning to speak the electric language that these cells understand. So that's kind of the first. The
Learning
second
to
really
speak the electric language.
Society, which is this idea that in the next decades we're going to be confronted by novel, intelligent beings that are not like us. And I don't just mean software artificial intelligences, I mean cyborgs and hybrids and all kinds of fusions of humans with various kinds of technologies, first for biomedical repair, then for augmentation, and then for modification. The future is going to be much more diverse in terms of embodied minds than it is now, and we really have to get beyond these very simplistic categories where people think of themselves as a sort of natural kind that is a single unitary mind. We have to understand that we too are a collective intelligence, that intelligence has many, many intelligence even here on Earth, and that we need
Embodiment of
practical frameworks for ethically relating to beings that are not like us. And this diverse intelligence research program is an essential part of understanding what's going on with AI, what's going on with novel biological intelligences. I think it's an existential level problem that humanity is not going to move forward properly if we don't have a better understanding of how intelligence emerges from its parts.
Dr. Levin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Michael Levin is a distinguished professor in the Department of Biology at Harvard Medical School and the director of the Allen Discovery Center at Tufts University. And that's it for Quarks and Quarks this week. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our email is quarks@cbc.ca, or just go to the contact link on our webpage at cbc.ca/quarks, where you can read my latest.
Oh, wow. I shut it off before I got to hear how to actually hear about his body of work. The belief systems he shares is the BS that we dare to call that simply because we understand that what we stand under is then over us. And then they can pull one over us to even make us believe in this fictitious idea of us versus them. Verse us literally says versus, which has ISIS indirectly in the name if we have a little stumble of our words, a stutter. Have you heard when you say the last pronunciation of the word on replay because you get caught in a loop until you get out of it? And ultimately you don't know how long you're going to be in there until you're in it, and then you get yourself out and then you say, okay, that's how long it took. The law of gender, my friends. The law of gender is like the law of gestation within the Hermetic principles, which means that everything has its own natural gestation, germination, development. Everything has its own developmental process by design. We're not meant to be the same. Even though sometimes we blame our differences on one another. When we start to take responsibility for our role in the deception, that's when we can actually start moving forward faster together. There are front runners like myself that have went further, faster, than most others have had an opportunity to do. CAA pulls the white car away, and I go the other way, because I say that I have been a caretaker, a caregiver. I have been one that simply cares, and have got the opportunity to share the rest of my grandpa's life with him, as best as what I've been able to in the 90 years that he's been here, less the part I wasn't born for. monarchy, to the colonialists, to all of the groups that would ask us to shift. 222. Get my rift? Oh baby, it's true that you are the one that you've been waiting for. Yes, you are. You're the star I'd love to share my tale with you. Chamberlain Street is where I go by now. I stop because the sign tells me to as I turn onto Pearl Street. That's where we'll meet. Toast the coast trails. I just saw an ex's last name on the mailbox, not because it was that one that taught me the lessons the one abroad did when I was abroad, selling out my power. Would you know that sometimes the inner prostitute will sell us out because it wants to benefit from that which was promised when the pro missed adrift and fell flat on his face. Changing pace is where we win the race. Two comes before four, and 3-2, it's true. 2 comes before 3, and now we go to 4-4-4. What's more, we're not getting there today because I'm going home to play writing. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but what is true is that I am now sewing the tale that we call the real story of Rome, the reality of my empowerment. Or maybe it should be the reality of our empowerment. The hour is now fast coming to an end, as we've known it. The Gregorian calendar was where we didn't see. Agrarianism is farming culture, said by a multi-generational farmer. By lineage, it is true, the edge that I have known through those that I was born to in the kingdom of Roman disguise. Oh, I got 3 birds in the greenhouse. That's not true. Oh man, wow. So I just gotta say, at 14:44, on this day, June 1st, happy birthday, Geordie Lishman, 49th birthday to a great wizard man that I am so grateful to have got to share a lot of time with in the last year and a half. So he's having a party at Woodlawn Art Farm, and it's too far for me to go when I need to get this course done, but I say happy birthday, Geordie, anyway. And I also say that I got accepted as an ambassador with Modo Yoga Brant, which is so exciting. I am just thrilled. So Monday nights I will be in the studio from 6 till 9:30. So we'll see you there if you care to join us. It's an amazing community I have been involved with on and off over the years, and now I am ready to take my commitment to a higher level. So it's literally the temple that I go to worship, in my temple, in the temple of. So Modo Yoga Brant has been the studio that I've really called back parts of myself and my power for years. And so I'm really grateful to be able to be a bigger piece of the puzzle that Modo Yoga Brant represents. And with that, I say adieu. Peace out to you. Peace inside too. Woo-hoo.